and we are surrounded by many of our colleagues who are doing good and great things. In fact, every year, we're sort of pressed as an LMC, as the nominations come in, that there could be a list of people for nominations, and of course, everybody can be nominated. So last year, we had a press for nominations, and Vina, as one of our CDs from Glossop, found herself in the perhaps unenviable situation of not only being a CD, but suddenly a CD no longer in the Tameside and Glossop that we referred ourselves to, but actually a PCN in a different place altogether, and it was a big thing. So this year we had a few nominations, and I'm absolutely delighted to be introducing a couple of our nominations from Tameside. Before I do that, I want to give you a geography lesson. Now, as you will notice, I am Scottish. Many people, when I say I'm Scottish, say they've been to Scotland, by which they mean Edinburgh, as a rule, sometimes Glasgow, very rarely Inverness, and almost never Wick. But if you were to go up to Glasgow, and then instead of heading up to Wick, which is in the northeast, you were to turn around and go down an enormously long peninsula to the southwest of Scotland, you would get to a town called Campbellton. And if you were to stand on the beach at Campbellton Harbour and you look out to sea, you would see a little island. That island was called Devar. And when I came to this area, Devar in Duckenfield was run by a single-handed GP called Charles Douglas. And I knew Charles. In fact, I worked a couple of sessions in Devar, which I might tell you about if I had some whiskies, but they were very interesting sessions. And so Devar, I think, then was round about 3,000, 3,500 perhaps, and has now changed to Duckenfield Medical Centre with a population close to 11,000. CQC outstanding for one area, and in fact, in terms of being effective, I visited Duckenfield myself to get a lesson on web access, introduction of changing a normal route by adopting the Bathe model and putting it into the web system, which I thought was a genius idea. Crosses the threshold of wish I'd thought of that myself, but genius idea. So a practice that has really gone from strength to strength, and in the practice two really unique individuals. We've got Tim Dowling and Jane Harvey. So just to mention Jane, one of the roles I had in GPC was to be deputy lead for primary care networks, working at scale, and then temporarily became lead for it, and then was deputy again, and became lead again. And one of the things that was really easy when people said, what are the examples of a PCN working well? Well, it speaks Jane. Have a look at Hyde. It's all happening, and indeed Hyde PCN has gone from strength to strength and graced many of the introductions in some NHSE and BME material. So I think we're lucky to have many unique individuals, but some of them really push that extra step and really put a place on the map. And I think Tim and Jane have done that. And just to mention a bit of Tim, there are not many people left now with more organisational memory than myself. But I can actually remember when you became our leader for Partners in Education, but it must have been a long time now. And you have been ploughing that field and doing the good work and keeping a room full of Tameside and Glossop people educated for longer than I can remember. Hence, we have two really worthy winners, and I think a first. Now, some other LMCs did actually, and I know this is fact, copy our best nomination and keynote GPs. I don't think any of them have yet had a married couple. So, as a West Pennine LMC first. Congratulations.
So, Tim, I first came across Tim in my first year, I think, at medical school. So those of you that are medics will remember on day one, you arrive and the dean arrives and says, congratulations, you're now joining the medical fraternity. And he gives this sort of boring speech for whatever it is, half an hour, 40 minutes. And then there's an opportunity for some of the students to come. And I think, Tim, you were one of the students who came to talk about Mediscope, I think it was. And Mediscope was the medical magazine done by students, for students. And Tim Dowling was the editor, I think. He was talking to this bright young little thing. He was listening. I wanted to do medicine. Here was this doctor, or this medical student, who was talking about how important it was to write. I subsequently was inspired by you, and I think Joanna Birchie was there as well at the time, with the team. And I ended up becoming editor of Mediscope further down the line. And one of the talks that we gave, or one of the articles we gave, was about junior doctors' hours back in 1994, and all the pressures that we had. So that's my first recollection of Tim from back then. We then lost contact and then came to Tameside and realised you were here as well. My other thought about you was when you said that when you came here, Tameside was at the bottom in terms of life expectancy, I think it was. And 25 years down the line, having done everything that we have to try and make a difference, unfortunately, are we still at the bottom, Jane, or have we improved a little bit? You'll know the figures. But it was a thought about, what's the point? What difference have we made? Tim and Jane, please come forward. Do you have any thoughts you want to say?
Not particularly.
What about you?
I just think it's a great job to have done. I've worked with some fantastic people over the years. Worked with some fantastic patients over the years. It's been a great career, really.
I think it's been wonderful working in this area. You know, it's an area of some deprivation, but it means you feel you're constantly trying to do something that's different. And yes, I've worked with hundreds of people who've had similar thoughts to us, and it's made me think, you know, every day that it's a job worth doing. But we've got to keep going, and I'm so glad that I've got these amazing people who are going to help us carry on with that in the future and make sure that we keep going and keep doing things for the right reasons. So I want to say thank you to our inspirational leaders who are here tonight as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you.